Hello, today you will hear a story with an interesting plot. How my wife cheated on me at work. I ran out of money on my phone, she said. How come? You have a huge limit on your rate there. You probably spent it on social media, didn't you? Yeah, she said it too hastily. There was a hint of untruth in her voice through the tension. Why don't I look it up in my account? No, you can check it later. Let's go to bed, she declares imperiously. I have big plans for you tonight. I usually take the initiative. She's 42. For her, intimacy is just a marital duty. The next day, February 21, I go to her personal office at work and see that she is out of her SMS package. Since she hardly ever used text messages, I, in all seriousness, thought that I was just having a blurry vision. It's been a while since I've peeked at her calls. Been getting more and more trusting of her lately. I asked for detailed stats and found something I didn't expect to see at all. A steady stream of text messages to the same number. I looked up the number on the internet and almost immediately I found out who it belonged to. It was a businessman whose my wife used to work in a home appliance store. The man, as my wife says, is very decent and respectable. The facts speak for themselves, and I feel my pulse going over 100. My body instantly, without consulting me, went into a state of stress for a few days. I returned from work, as usual, an hour and a half earlier than my wife, walk in circles around the apartment, then try to finish packing the closet. This is what she catches me doing. Why are you so sad? You do not have a face. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. I feel a little nauseous. I'm putting myself out of my misery and postponing the scandal. I need to get to her phone. Myself out of my misery and postponing the scandal. I need to get to her phone. Wait for her to shower. I have access to a smartphone. I've never noticed, but she's in control of her phone all the time. Even when she pops into the bathroom, she puts it in front of the door. No chance. We go to bed. I somehow fall asleep, though my heart never slows down. By morning it was unbearable to lie down and tell myself that I was sleeping. I periodically look at the scoreboard of the electronic clock, and then it's 5 o'clock. I get up and get dressed. My heart beats in a new, already familiar rhythm. They say I have to sleep with the problem first, and then act. In terms of time, I think it is possible to consider that I have slept. My wife cannot sleep when I walk around the apartment. She gets up, goes to the kitchen to peel potatoes. She has not cooked anything since the evening. Here is my chance. The noise of the water in the kitchen, and I grab her phone, and before I even unlock it, my wife is already standing on the doorstep. All right, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. We're in the middle of a fight. Bear with me, neighbors. Pointing my finger at the monitor, I point to the endless correspondence and ask, "What is this?" This is nothing. It's not. How is it not there? Right? No. And I quickly realize that I've got a personal Cooperfield. I hold on to the phone and explain to my wife, shouting politely and spitting slightly that I will read the texts anyway, no matter what it costs me. They are all erased. The wife declares, "And since when do you delete text messages?" Wife needs to be trusted, she says. Lowering the pressure, she allows me to unlock the phone, but she tries to catch the moment and snatches the phone out of my hand. But I'm on my guard. See, there's no texting. I erased everything. We're just talking about work. How could you think that? Give me the phone. But it's just getting started. I open the Chinese site on my computer, which is synced from Xiaomi. I choose the barcode scanner, and in an unequal struggle for the right to hold the phone, I get authorized to the site. I choose the folder messaging, and alas, the deleted text messages are synchronously erased in the vault. By 7 a.m., we sit down for breakfast, as we have done for years. We talk quietly, like intelligent people. Since I heard nothing intelligible from my wife, a firm decision came instantly from somewhere in the deepest layers of my subconscious, the one even deeper than all feelings and emotions. The brain processor had no time to process and calculate the rationality of this decision. But without the sanction of reason, I am already beginning to act. I'm filing for divorce. No options. Monday, February 25th, 25 years of our life together. A silver wedding anniversary. That's the day I'm filing for divorce. Symbolically put an end to the relationship. Even I myself cannot understand whether I bluff or not, but there is hope in my heart that everything will be all right. As I sit at the table and watch her face surreptitiously, I realize more and more that she is not in any pain at all. She is still settling into her comfort zone. Suddenly her eyes moisten. Finally, somehow I know that she must be in as much pain as I am. Otherwise, what's the point? Why are you crying? She remembered something about the children. Once again, I am surprised to find that she doesn't care about me. I'm not taking the bus to work today. I head towards the garage to get my car. Now I'm going to do a lot of driving around town. On my lunch break, with a prepared printout of the negotiation fragment, I head to the store where the spouse of the asshole who dared to unscrupulously meddle in our family works. Let this woman, who has already given up a little over the years, work from here on out. I will not call the asshole. It makes no sense. Experience tells me to find other solutions. The end of the day, I rush home, pack a big bag of things, and leave for the cottage. I'd fight a heroic battle against snow with a shovel in my hands. The temperature in the house is minus. It is not meant for living in the winter. The next day, my student's son is back in town for an unscheduled vacation, but I only keep in touch with him by phone. I did not return home. I had to lie to my son that I was renting an apartment. I couldn't let her know where I was, but she figured it out. On February 23, she found me in the yard with a shovel. She rushed me in a cab. Come home. I need you. I was not going back to my comfort zone and was clearly trying to explain to her how we were going to divide the property. My wife announced that she was staying here with me. I made it clear that she would not survive in such conditions. She didn't believe me. She went into the cabin and then quickly scurried away. My phone now held a printout of my wife's phone calls from the beginning of the year. By morning, I had learned them by heart. A call on the 1st of January, apparently to congratulate me. A call on January the 14th. We chatted for about 5 minutes. The 31st of January, calling back, texting each other. In February, I got some kind of crap. And then on the 18th, calls and texts from the beginning to the end of the day. I couldn't imagine how I could be distracted by such an intense barrage of correspondence. My wife's voice was spinning in my head. You have to trust your wife. We were just communicating about work. You have to trust your wife. In the evening, I dropped by my apartment for an hour. While my wife was at work, I cleaned myself up and talked to my son. My son reminded me what century I was living in. That he finds nothing wrong with this phone statement, that I have some strange ideas about marriage. I'm sure that after talking to me, he told his older brother that his father had lost his mind. On Tuesday, I felt even worse in terms of my physical health. The main problem was with sleep. In the morning after the planning session, I realized that if I stayed at work until the evening, I would have a stroke. I agreed with the director that I would leave in the afternoon and began to finish the urgent tasks. Besides, I made an appointment with a psychologist. Suddenly at 9 a.m. my wife showed up. She brought me a container of hot lunch and looked at me with a loving sad look, as if I were a seriously ill person. So it was. I put her in the car and grilled her. What had happened and on what date, and what had been talked about. Roughly it went like this. Have you ever talked to him on the phone before? No, not since I quit my job. Never. And you never called him until February? I only called him about that problem. I don't remember exactly when. Look, you have to learn to trust your wife. A family should be built on trust. Did you ever wish him a happy new year? No, I didn't. What do you mean no? The call from the 1st of January at lunch. Oh, I said hello to everyone, so I forgot. What was the call on January 14th? Well, you remember the problem I had at work. I asked him for advice at the time. My landlady didn't have a problem like that. Trust your wife. Wait, you didn't call him at all after the 18th? No, so he doesn't know what kind of fuss he's making about us? You didn't tell him. I did. Where's the call? I called from the landlady's phone so you wouldn't get upset. Come home, please. I need you. Okay, I have an opportunity to recover a text message. Will you give me the phone? Of course I will. Here you go. Take whatever you want. You're gonna get a text with a code today. Will you give me the numbers? Yeah, do whatever you want. There's nothing in those texts. We were talked about work. I asked about his kids. I told him how we were doing. He asked about you too. I don't have anybody. You've got yourself all wound up. Come home. I need you. I want to grow old with you. You see, there is spiritual treason. You have so little contact with me. You spend all your time on social media. I miss talking to you. You know, I only have girls on Facebook, and I sell flowers there. I'm sorry. Let's start over. Okay, I have work to do. She also warned me that this businessman's wife called her from this number. She said some nasty things about her. I had the pleasure of hearing from my wife about the missed call from the number on February 23 at 2 a.m. After the conversation, I felt like some kind of sick idiot. Maybe it really was okay. It warmed my soul so much. But some psycho deep down inside was forcing me to act against logic, without regard for anyone, not even me. After lunch, my son wasn't home. When I entered the apartment, I immediately threw a pillow on the couch. All that was left was to fall down and forget myself to sleep. Making an effort, I turned on the computer. I opened the Chinese website, and by some miracle, I opened the messaging folder without any SMS request. Again, I looked and saw that all the messages had been deleted. Everything is meaningless. I wanted to see them and see for myself that I was a sick nutcase, and go back to the normal world, trust people, to take life easier. I tried to close the page, but when I had no luck navigating around the site, I saw the trash button on the menu. I pressed it. All the deleted text messages appeared in front of me. What I saw was a complete surprise. There were all the details of an intimate conversation with pictures and piquant details of my wife and her lover. Well, my suspicions were justified. I looked at my watch. I had plenty of time. It's time to act. The wedding anniversary was only 2 days away. I booked dinner at a restaurant and sent out invitations to all our friends and acquaintances. I also sent invitations to my wife's parents and my own parents. My wife was happy and relieved, and then came the day of our anniversary. The guests gathered and congratulations began. While they were saying their congratulations, the waiter handed each guest an envelope with intimate correspondence and pictures of my wife with her lover. All with surprise and not understanding what is happening looked at me. I said, "You may now open the envelopes I have prepared." I watched with satisfaction as the expressions on the faces of our guests change. I saw our sons looking at their mother with contempt, but while my wife was greedily gulping for air and pretending to be very sick, the chief guest of the occasion entered the restaurant. All the guests looked intently at the man who entered and recognized him from the pictures. The man was surprised by this attention, and my wife jumped in surprise. The day before the party, I had sent an invitation to the restaurant from my wife's phone to her lover, to which he willingly agreed. As I watched the faces of the guests, only my father smiled at me and said, "Son, you're the best I've got. If you think my wife's lover went unpunished, you are mistaken." When the lover came home, his things were already packed, as his wife had received the same envelope. As a result, my wife and I separated. My children have no relationship with her, and I have gone on living my life to the fullest. Thanks to everyone who took the time to listen to today's stories. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share your thoughts on the events in the comments below. Take care.